Hey everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about one thing and one thing only, and it's a really big word called embarkation, otherwise known as how you get on a cruise ship, and specifically how you get on a Disney cruise ship. And I'm really glad that you're here. So I did put out a poll on YouTube about how to do these videos, and at the end of the day I decided that really it was going to be a pretty long video just talking about getting on the ship. So that's all we're going to talk about today. When we first sailed on Disney, which was way back in 2010, we didn't know a lot, and I couldn't find a lot of super specific information about the process of getting on the ship. Now, of course, with the added COVID protocols, it's even more complicated. So what I want to do today is not just tell you how to do it, but I'll also show you with some video clips from my time on the Disney Dream exactly what the process was like getting on the ship. Now, you have a lot of work to do ahead of time before you ever get on that Disney cruise ship. All of it is really clearly outlined on the Disney Cruise Line website. What I'm going to share today is what my experience was at the time of sailing, which was October 18th, 2022. These things can change on a whim, so definitely make sure, check with your travel agent, check with Disney Cruise Line, and make sure you have followed all the necessary steps. In my case, I had two places I needed to go to fill out the appropriate information. The first was the Disney Cruise Line website. This is where I downloaded a picture of my passport. I gave them all the pertinent information that they needed. Of course, that's where you want to make sure that you're paid in full and all of that sort of thing. That is also where you will check in 30 days in advance, depending on what level of Castaway Key Club member you are, to get your boarding group. And you want to do this as soon as you qualify, at least if you're me, because I like to have as much time on the ship that first day as possible. And this time that really worked out great for me because I did log in as soon as I could, and I got an 11:30 to an 11:45 port arrival time. Now, in the old days, if you showed up early, that was okay. Now it's not. You need to show up either at your arrival time or later, not before, because you will be turned away. So you filled out everything on the Disney Cruise Line website, which you can do really as soon as you've paid in full. But now you're going to have to log into an additional website. And right now Disney is using a company called Safe Passage. You'll go in no more than 15 days prior to your sail date. You'll give them all of your information, and this is where you will both download a picture of your vaccination card and also where you will submit those test results for your kiddos, because kids 12 and under have to be tested no more than 3 days prior to embarkation. And then everyone has to be tested once you get to the port. So when you log into Safe Passage, make sure you remember your login, that it's either auto-saved on your phone or you have it written down somewhere, because you will need to log back into that website once you've taken your rapid test, because that's where they will send your results. So you'll have two things to print out. Your port arrival form, which will have a QR code from Disney, and also it will have, now excuse that this is super wrinkly, but I found it in the bottom of my bag. You're going to have your assembly station assignment, and we're going to talk about what that means in a minute. And this is your QR code. We checked this and it just led to a phone number, so it's expired. But this is important. You can show it to them on your phone. I liked having things actually printed out. It made it just a little bit easier. Plus also I was filming on my phone, so it made it easier to have an actual paper printout. And then you will get, and I will cover this one up, you will get a QR code from Safe Passage, which you will also need. So those are the two pieces of paper in addition to your passport or your driver's license that you will need for every member of your party before you arrive at the port. Okay, so you've printed out everything, you've double and triple checked, you've read everything, you know you're ready to get on the ship. You also need to make sure you put on your luggage tags. This is what your luggage tags are going to look like. You will get 2 luggage tags for each person in your party. So when we sailed with a family of 5, we had 10 luggage tags. You're going to drop your luggage at the port as soon as you arrive. Whether you're parking in the parking garage or whether you're being dropped off by transportation, which is what I did, huge shout out and thanks again to Orlando Transportation by Mike. They always do a great job. I love how personal the service is. I'll put their information down in the description box below. But you're going to make sure you tag your luggage. You're going to give it to the porters there at the curb. You're going to want to tip the porters there at the curb. I usually tip $5 per bag. And then instead of going into the cruise terminal, which is what we used to do, you're going to be directed to the testing center. Okay, so we just dropped off our bags over there. And now we're going just right across the street to the COVID screening area. Everything's very orderly. No issues. Clear signage. It's like they know what they're doing. So I'm a little nervous about this part, and I'm not sure how much I'll film in here just because health and I don't know, I get weird about filming stuff like that, but we shall see. Now this is of course very streamlined. There are cast members all along the way to tell you where you need to go. You're going to go into the testing area. They're going to give you the test. There's going to be a technician in a little private cubicle for you that will make sure you administer the test correctly. You're going to put it in the little baggie. You're going to give it to them, and then you're going to go wait in your assigned tent. And this was actually not bad. It was air conditioned. They had Disney movies playing. They had muffins if you happen to be hungry. They had bottled water. And just about at 30 minutes, I received an email notification that Safe Passage had emailed me. I logged in, and then it showed that I was clear to sail. Then you're going to go up to the cast member. You're going to show them that you're clear to sail, and then everyone in your party is clear to sail, and you're going to get on the ship. I am safe to sail. I had to log in. They sent me an email. They said you're safe to sail, and here we go. Now, I had mentioned a plan B in my earlier video, and a bunch of you were like, Jen, what was your plan B? In my case, on the weird off chance that I had tested positive for COVID, I was going to rent a car and drive back to Atlanta. Now, if you're flying, this is a problem if you cannot drive, because if someone in your party has tested positive for COVID, you can't fly. So right now, for me and my family, we would not be sailing unless we could drive home from wherever the port was, okay? You can go with your own comfort level, but for me, because I feel like I always want to be prepared for the absolute worst case scenario, that comfort that I knew that if the worst case should happen, I could easily get back home and didn't have to, quarantine in a hotel room in Orlando for 14 days was very reassuring and actually played into my decision to go ahead and sail. But that is something you want to consider. What would we do if we tested positive for COVID? Because Disney, you're on your own at that point. Disney is not going to help you at that point. So you definitely want to make sure you have a plan B. Okay, so you've shown all your documentation. You're ready to get on the ship. Another change from the way they used to do it is you no longer receive your key to the world card there in the terminal. It's actually waiting for you outside your stateroom. And it's sealed up so that you're sure nobody else tampered with it or got into it. But that was a little bit of a different change. So you don't actually get your room key until you go to your stateroom. So you're cleared to sail. They've scanned everything a million times. Again, having it printed out, I think, is the most convenient way. And when your boarding group is called, you're going to get on the ship. And boy, oh boy, is this an exciting moment. It's so fun! Thank you! Well, I'm by myself. Jen. Let's just go with Jen. Yeah. Thank you. Please welcome aboard Jen. There he is. Hey. Yep. There's just nothing like it when the adventure is just about ready to begin. You're going to watch the little going away party. The sail away parties, sadly, were not happening when I was sailing. They might be happening again by the time that you sail, but they're doing a little modified version of the sail away party right there in the atrium with families on little dots so that you're not, too close to each other. This was such a fun way to start the trip. And then I was hungry. So I actually got on the ship about 12 12:15 or so. And so it had taken me just about 45 minutes to get into the cruise terminal from the time that I first arrived. And then I waited maybe another 15 minutes in the terminal. So I was hungry. Now, most people go up to cabanas, but I like to go instead to whatever sit-down restaurant, which for this sailing happened to be Animator's Palette. And I think every time we've sailed on the Dream, it's been Animator's Palette, but I had a lovely lunch. You're usually not able to get into your stateroom until around 2 o'clock, and your bags might not be outside your stateroom until as late as, maybe 3:30. So again, you want to make sure you have a day bag with you that has all of your documentation. If you want to change into swimsuits and do some swimming, you want to make sure you have all of that with you. And also make sure that day bag is comfortable because you're going to be lugging it with you around the ship for quite a while. So you want to make sure that isn't impeding upon your good time. So after lunch, you can head to your stateroom. They were available to us right at 2 o'clock. This is when I unpacked. I kind of took a sigh of relief and I was super happy to finally be on vacation. But wait, there is one more thing you have to do, and that is you have to check in at your assembly station. Now, those of you that have sailed with Disney before, remember how we used to have to line up and it was hot and it took forever. They don't do that anymore. You just check into your assembly station, you look at the cast member, they put a little thing on their pad and in their computer that shows that you checked in, that you acknowledge you know where it is, and you also agree to watch the safety video, and they will also do a ship-wide announcement of the safety procedure at 4 o'clock, and that is played everywhere, even in the treatment rooms in the spa. And I know because at 4 o'clock I was in a treatment room at the spa. And I'll talk more about that when we talk about the things for adults to do on the Disney cruise ships. But boy, that was a really good massage. Anyway, so now you've had lunch, you're unpacked, you've done your safety drill. You can take a deep breath because guess what? You're on vacation. And that's it. It is truly that simple. There are a lot of steps to it, especially now. There is a lot for you to do at home before you leave, but to me, it's all part of the anticipation. The testing was very easy and simple. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it wasn't the poke your brain test. It was just the 5 times around in each nostril. So literally pain-free. Do I love that we had to do it? No, but it also gave me a huge level of assurance that everyone on the ship was COVID-free. We sailed away and we had a fabulous time. Now, I will have more videos coming up. My next video in this series will be all about a tour of my cabin, why I chose the cabin that I chose, which actually was chosen for me, but we'll get into that as well, how I unpacked, and everything that I brought with me on this vacation. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And if you're interested in supporting the channel and also getting a lot of exclusive content, check out my Patreon, which will be down in the description box below. Whatever you're doing today, I hope you're being really good to each other, and I'll see you next time. Bye.